Hey guys, it's me, your boy Ryan Swag here. So this is a cut from my livestream SwagTips where I talked about Salaменce's use in the meta, directly comparing it to Dragonite, Rayquaza, and a little drop of Latios. Not too much, but a little drop of Latios. This was before Draco Meteor Dragonite was announced. It doesn't really influence this analysis too much. I have a more in-depth kind of Draco Meteor Dragonite analysis coming up in the near future, so watch out for that one. Not Dragonite, not Rayquaza, we're talking about Salamence here. And so a lot of people are excited about it. I did a video a while back, the Gen 3 Hype Train video. Salamence was the first stop on the Gen 3 Hype Train, talking about that blue Gatorade versus the orange Gatorade, because at the end of the day, they're both just Gatorade. But the blue one looks cooler. And the conclusion back then was that Salamence and Dragonite kind of have DPS TDO trade-offs, and overall there really isn't going to be like a big reason to use one or the other like that's super significant. So at the end of the day, if you have like 6 Dragonites powered up, then why would you want to power up a Salamence? Well, now we know what the moveset is, and we know what the weights are for those movesets. And yeah, I'd have to say Salamence is a DPS upgrade to Dragonite, kind of. As far as its TDO goes, I'd say Dragonite's better there. And overall, like, Salamence got Draco Meteor, right? And Draco Meteor, that's cool. It's a big hit. It's sort of like a Hyper Beam or a Solar Beam of Dragon-type moves. But the thing is Salamence is glassier than Dragonite. And you got that situation, you might remember from my one of my bulk point videos, so I'll link that in the description. But yeah, the idea is that Draco Meteor is a single bar charge move, and we've all been in that situation where you're about to fire it, you're about to get your single bar charge move, and then, oh shoot, your Pokemon fainted. Now that really sucks. Now you can't get that Draco Meteor off because your Salamence fainted before it could use it. And then when you got multi-bar charge moves, you have that consistency. So it's like Dragonite will be able to use an Outrage, you know? And then, so when it comes to cycle DPS, which is like the DPS when you consider the fast move use and then you use the charge move, there's no easy way to talk about charge move DPS. A lot of models show that the cycle DPS of Draco Meteor is better than the cycle DPS of Outrage. But the thing is because you can get one Outrage off but not get off one Draco Meteor, well, who's got the better DPS now? Now, okay, you got the situation where you got 2 Outrages and 1 Draco Meteor. Okay, now the Draco Meteor is slightly better. Now, 3 Outrages, but only 1 Draco Meteor. Oh, now Outrage is way better. So I think that's like the biggest factor that's keeping Salamence back. If Salamence got Dragon Claw or it got Outrage, I think Salamence would be a lot more impressive. You'd still have that DPS versus TDO kind of argument with it and Dragonite, but with Draco Meteor, it's risky pick. Like, I really couldn't go up to someone and be like, yeah, absolutely, max out that Salamence. You know, right now we got a Rayquaza event going on where you can get a straight DPS upgrade to Dragonite that's even better than Salamence and has Outrage. And then we also got that Dratini event coming up. I feel like if Salamence was released like at the beginning of Gen 3, there'd be reasons for me to promote it. You know, it'd still be like, oh, a slightly higher DPS option of Dragonite, get yourself some variety, right? But they released it with Rayquaza and with a Dratini event like coming up the 24th. So kind of dial back to like the blue Gatorade situation, except like it's like watered down, right? Yeah. So McTravis Jr. here saying Mence gets that style points with the Draco. Have you seen that Reddit post? So yeah, so we got Salamence wailing on Snorlax. I guess you get to watch NKTX's swag dodging skills. Oh, whoa, look at that. Oh, is he gonna make it? Oh, ooh, dodge. Nailed it. But yeah, Draco Meteor. So yeah, that's a pretty cool animation, I'd have to say, compared to a lot of them. I mean, it's not like it's not Gunk Shot cool. You literally throw a trash can at your opponent with Gunk Shot. But yeah, that's what Draco Meteor looks like. You know, I'll play the Draco Meteor part again. It's kind of subtle here. Now what I really want to see is a Draco Meteor used in raids, because that's like another kind of style point thing when it comes to these. Where you're like, we've all had it. I think Bullet Punch does this, Like, have you ever had that situation? You're like fighting in a raid, and you see like a really cool animation like happening on the raid boss, and you're like, "Who is that? What is that attack? What could that be?" I think Zap Cannon also kind of has that swag where it's just like this lightning bolt, just this beam of like energy just shoots through the raid boss, and you're like, "What was that?" So I think it'll be kind of cool to see Draco Meteor in action, and it's not that bad. So if you want to go for some style, you want to use like a cool attack, then of course Draco Meteor. You know, you got some mad style points there. You want to show off at the raid, use that Draco Meteor. But when it comes to statistics, let me pull up a graph. So this is a dragon type damage comparison. Just DPS, straight DPS, no TDO involved. And it's showing it against a counter dynamic punch Machamp raid. And this is the straight dragon damage, not using flying moves that dragon type and Rayquaza have. It's just straight dragon. And the reason why I picked Machamp for this initial sort of assessment was because I felt that it was like a fair sort of battle. Like when it comes to comparing like DPS like this, you kind of want to use a fight that the Pokemon that you're comparing aren't going to faint in right away, because they'll have more of a chance to, you know, not die before they get a charge move off. And that's like a concern with Salamence, that polarity. Is it going to faint before it can get the Draco Meteor off or not? A little bit questionable there. But when you're taking like hits that you resist, then I felt Salamence would be a little bit more resilient. And I also threw in Latios into the graph because I figured, you know, if I'm comparing, you know, the 3 of the 4 dragon type Pokemon that we're going to see throughout Gen 3, it'd be kind of worth it to throw Latios and see how it does for raiding. So red line is Latios, future legendary Pokemon that we're probably going to get from a raid. And yeah, kind of doing the worst out of them all. I think Latios will definitely shine in gymming because it's got, you know, the Dragon Claw, and it's got the Psychic typing, so it can use its Dragon typing a little bit better, and then the Psychic typing also gives it some nice resistances in terms of gymming and gym cleaning. But yeah, for raiding, Latios, not the best bay. The best bay is looking like Rayquaza. Now, this is a pure DPS perspective, though, so TDO is not a part of this. If you look at the Rayquaza graph that I had from the content there, you'd see that Rayquaza, better DPS, but Dragonite, much better TDO. Dragonite's looking a lot more reliable for that fight, so something else to consider there. DPS disparity is like 1 DPS, which is significant, but not a super big deal. But here we got the orange line, Dragonite, and we got the blue line, Salamence, and they seem like kind of basically the same. So the further you go to the right, that's more of like the best case scenario. And then the further you go to the left is like the worst case scenario. So we're seeing that Salamence is having some drop off in the worst case scenario. So those are situations where Salamence isn't getting off, you know, an extra Draco Meteor, where this one's like the max amount of Draco Meteors that it could get off. Like, you wouldn't be fighting in this situation, so like why bring it up? Like, I would be using a flying type or a psychic type to take on the Machamp raid. So I decided to look at it against the Rayquaza. Yeah, so this is against Rayquaza, Air Slash and Aerial Ace, which is the best matchup for Salamence. It's the best case scenario for it. One single Outrage just basically takes Salamence right out of commission. It cannot tolerate one fast move and one Outrage from Rayquaza, which means that the only situation where a Salamence will get off a Draco Meteor is if you roll the dice real hard and get super lucky, and it just uses a long stream of fast moves without using Outrage. And then it also kind of performs middling against Ancient Power for similar reasons. Ancient Power hits it super effectively. So this is Salamence's best case scenario for the moveset that it's up against. And you see here that on average they're about the same, and then Salamence has this pretty big peak here. So yeah, so here you see the best case scenario, and in terms of fighting against something that Salamence is super effective against compared to the Machamp fight where it's dealing neutral damage, that spike happens where it's like, oh dang, dude, you got off like 2 or 3 Draco Meteors, so cool. But then you see this hard drop here, and that's sort of like, yeah, you only got off like 1, maybe. Dragonite, you're gonna have more consistency, where Salamence, you're gonna have that swing. And then Rayquaza is also like Glacier compared to Dragonite, so you also see that the swing is kind of big too. But like Rayquaza's worst case scenario in terms of DPS is still like are, for the most part, better than Dragonite's average. So from a DPS perspective, in this fight also particularly, Rayquaza would be doing a lot better than the Dnite boy. This is a game press countering Rayquaza in its place in the meta guide. Some say I wrote it. So yeah, so we got this graph here. And yeah, you can see Rayquaza. This is the DPS upgrade on average that you're seeing. And this is also against all movesets, not just the really weak moveset that lets their DPS shine a little bit better. So yeah, you see like Dragonite's got that TDO, which is typically associated heavily with survivability. Not always, but in this case, definitely much higher than Rayquaza's. So I feel like they kind of have like, you know, a debate there. But then you see Salamence over here, and like less TDO, technically less DPS, but in other movesets, Salamence might shine a bit more if it has more survivability. Turning back to Swagland here, if you think about Salamence and that Draco Meteor, if you're gonna have a Salamence and you're gonna put it in a gym, I definitely say, you know, use the Draco Meteor for it, because it's like, you know, if Salamence is a worse Dragonite for gym defense, and you're gonna put a Salamence in the gym knowing that, then I'd have to assume that your goal is to show off to the world that you have a Salamence, which is perfectly respectable, especially in this meta where gym defenders don't matter that much. You may as well show off, right? Then you may also show off that Draco Meteor to give some extra sort of envy to the person that's beating down your Pokemon, like, oh, dang, Draco Meteor is so cool. Where's my Salamence? If I ever fought a Salamence in a gym and it used Draco Meteor on me, like, it'd definitely be salt in the wound that I don't have one. I caught one bag on. So TLDR on Salamence is that it's a cool looking Pokemon. It's got some style. Definitely cool style points at the raid, you know, where you're with all your community friends, community foes, right? And then they see that Draco Meteor animation. I can't wait to see it myself in a raid. Like, oh dang, that was Draco Meteor, so cool. But performance-wise, Rayquaza or Dragonite, they're often going to be much better. And I mean, in any situation where Salamence is performing better than Dragonite, I'm almost positive Rayquaza for sure will be doing better than Salamence. I mean, I don't have their base stats up in front of me. I can look at them right now. Rayquaza, basically the same defense. Oh my god. Rayquaza, like, literally 2 more defense than Salamence, literally 1 more HP, and it's got, oh gosh, mental math here, 7 more attack than Salamence. So Rayquaza is, in basically every sense, a straight upgrade to Salamence. So yeah, but Rayquaza doesn't have Draco Meteor, so you're gonna miss out on that swag. So that was my analysis on Salamence for my live stream SwagTips. SwagTips streams every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Time on the Twitch channel, SwagTips. Link information in the description. If you like this content and you want to see more of it, then make sure to like and comment. Let me know that you're into it. And if you haven't subscribed already, well, what you waiting for, man? SwagTips. And if you're curious about that outraged Dragonite, how that all matches up with all this nonsense, I'm covering that on Thursday in the live stream. And if you're not able to make the live stream, it's going to end up here on the YouTube channel. Just noticed that my mic is a little bit in this shot. Oh,